the summertime, it felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Welcome to Everything Sparkle. I am so excited about today. Tell us,
why am I froze?
Everybody, and your show.
I'm JC. Alongside us is Hootie and then M. Callie. They can introduce themselves formally here. But Hootie and JC show, and all of us are former Cosa Nostra guys. Most of you guys would call it the Mafia. And Hootie can get into the real ins and outs of the way things were in New York and whatnot. But we were all affiliated or in the cannabis game in the case of Mike. We've all done a lot of transformation here. And so we're putting out the stories, keeping it real, and letting the younger folks out there to know, don't follow in this path. At the same time, guys are in the life. Hopefully they hear something they may like as well, and maybe move away from it and do something more productive like we all do.
So tell us your connection. Tell us your connection to the mob.
Okay.
Get there.
Well, back in the 1990s, I was just a local guy here. I was in the cannabis weed industry. They call it cannabis now. Back then, we didn't say the word cannabis. There was a lot of other words. Anyhow, dealt with Mexican weed, dealt with the stuff from up in Northern Cali. I ended up getting hooked up with the guys out of Detroit, Michigan. One of my friends here moved back there, and he was connected through one of his family members, and then it just sort of led to one thing to another. And so, originally I was just, about trying to make money and sell some weed, and then it just sort of moves in there. If you're good at what you do with that, and people like you, and you treat people fairly, and they know they can rely upon you, then it builds from there. And in the case of Hootie, he was doing the same thing in New York.
Okay.
Mike was also here in California. He had a different hookup than I did. He and I both went to the same high school, but few years apart. And so I knew of him. He's a good guy. He knows of me. Hopefully he thinks I'm a good guy too. And then we've got so all of us have that affiliation, and so we're just keeping it real. We're not like these other guys out there that are out there recycling the same stories from 40 years ago. This month I'm going to approach my same scam from this angle. You can only
tell the same stories.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to find out. And the audience has been clamoring for this. In fact, we are probably the only authentically, organically created show, in the sense that the three of us were on a different podcast. And then the mic messes up on Hootie, and what happens? The crowd reacts with comments about how they want to hear more Hootie, more Mike, more me. And if your only complaint is that they don't get enough of you because your mic isn't quite working that first time, or some other challenge, that's a pretty good objection to have compared to some of the other guys.
So Hootie, where do you fall in? Tell us about what you do.
It's a pleasure being on your show, Sparkle. Thank you for having me. I don't know. I had a lot of people asking me to do podcasts, and it was just something I liked about JC. I did my homework on him, and I just decided to come together and do a podcast with him. My good friend was Gene Barillo and Johnny A. Light. They happened to start a podcast. I was their first in-studio guest, and it kind of took off from there. It blew up. My stories are original. I come from a poor Sicilian family. I grew up in a pretty poor neighborhood. It's pretty much an Italian-Irish ghetto. But it was a breathing ground, which the government would call a farm system for Cosa Nostra. I lived on something called 101st Avenue. If you're not familiar with Cosa Nostra, that's where John Gotti's club was. But besides John Gotti, before he was even the boss, we had other bosses. All 5 families had social clubs on my avenue. And I was around it since I was 5 years old. My grandfather on my mother's side, my grandfather, which was my mother's father, was involved with Sonny Francis and the Colombo family. He was a hitter. I didn't talk to him. I didn't get along with him. My father's family was part of the Sicilian Mafia, which he came and left in the 60s and immigrated here after World War II. And I wanted to be a street guy and a gangster my whole life. I never wanted to be anything else. I mean, I wanted to go to school. I wanted to learn. I wasn't the kid who cut out, smoked weed. I'm not. I never smoked weed before. I had an edible for my first time 6 months ago. I hated it, so I never touched it again. But I was a big marijuana trafficker. I dealt with clans. People call them cartels. Right up in Canada, they're called clans. I started a pipeline from Canada into New York, trafficking marijuana. I tried to start a pipeline from Mexico, went to New York for cocaine, but I wound up going another direction with that. And I was kind of on the business end of Cosa Nostra, and I hooked up with a big crew. The guy that was my mentor happened to be a boss, and a lot older than me. He's in his 70s now. And we did some hardcore shit that I'm not proud of. I did Fed bids, I did state bids. I was a revolving door for me on Rikers Island, which isn't a place for a white guy, nevertheless an Italian. So there was a lot of trouble there. I happened when I came home. I got locked up 5 times. In 2015, I spent the whole summer there on Rikers Island for a beef. And my whole life, I was chasing the life. That's what they call it. And there really wasn't money to be made there because I seen where the money was to be made on the street because I was already a self-made millionaire on my own without Cosa Nostra. And that's my story. There's a lot of, ins and outs of it. I don't know how much detail you want me to get into. I got 3+ decades, 38 years of stories of Cosa Nostra, of cooking crack when I was 13, selling drugs in East New York, Brooklyn, the parties. They called us the princes of the city. Everywhere we went, they knew us from the tri-state area, from Jersey to Connecticut to New York to Florida to Vegas. I mean, we were well known. Everybody knew we were Gambino guys. My whole crew was made. My good friend was a captain. One of my good friends now is a captain. I don't think I know anybody that's not under a captain anymore throughout probably 4 families besides the Colombos because they're dismantled. But my whole life was Cosa Nostra. I was brought into it. I loved it. I was accepted into it. I was loved by all. I made money for all my friends and everybody that did business with me. I walked away from the life. I was fed up with it. I had enough in 2015. I came home. By 2016, I changed my life. I went to work. I opened a business, and I started working a regular job. I work 60 hours a week like a regular guy now, and I'm doing the podcast to try to help other people. That's my platform. I call it the Hootie platform, and I'm trying to help anybody that wants to get on. My name's a big name. A lot of people like to sign on and listen to my stories that know who I am or heard of me. And I'm hoping people like Mike and JC, and I have a lot of other guys that also follow me that can get off and do better things with their lives that were once drug dealers, once gang members. And I want to show everybody that I did it the right way and I failed. I don't think I did anything wrong in the life and I still failed. And I watch people today that are bosses of crews and families that do everything wrong. And I'm trying to pull those guys out to tell them, listen, you're doing it all wrong. How bad you think you're going to get it? You're going to end up on the Belt Parkway with one between your eyes or one in the back of the head by your best friend. I did everything right. And I just made it out with my life. So that's my story. And that's what I want to help people with.
So are you afraid now, or because you're so far removed, you don't like worry? Can you sleep with one eye open? How's it go now?
I mean, I don't sleep much now because of all the work, but that doesn't bother me. I expected to die in the streets like Julius Caesar myself. I still expect it. I still live in my old neighborhood. I'm still in Brooklyn. I'm still in Queens. I'm still on Ozone Park. I eat in my same restaurants. I go to the same bakeries. I go to the same pork stores. I'm expecting one day some guy looking to make his bones puts one in the back of my head and makes everybody happy, makes a name for himself that he killed Hootie. Does 20 years, comes home, gets straightened out. And this life is just going to keep recycling itself. So listen, I've been around the earth twice. I was a millionaire. I was broke. I was poor. I lived great. I owned houses. I traveled the world. I did everything I wanted. I've owned everything I wanted. I've had every toy I wanted. I could work. I can relax. I can vacation. I did it all. So I really got nothing to complain about. I mean, I'm still fairly young. I'd like to be a grandfather, I guess, a family man, things I didn't do that I should have done growing up without parents myself from 13 on. But things like that is probably the only things I've ever think about. But other than that, if I walk out today and get clipped, I wouldn't be surprised or upset about it.
Why did you decide to stay in that area?
where my heart is. Right? Where am I going to go? It's where I belong. Am I going to go somewhere else and be somebody else? I can never be somebody else. I can only be me. And I love it. I mean, it's authentic. A lot of where I came from kind of changed a lot. It moved a little bit further into an area called Howard Beach. It's more like how Ozone Park used to be years ago. And even that's becoming shit now. But it's where my heart is.
So how did you come into all of this? My third one. How did you become the third?
Mike, what's up?
All three of you.
Well, I met Jeff a long time ago. For one, we had a podcast we were doing. He pulled me in to do some political stuff, and I was
How did that go?
Thankfully, not too well, because I'd rather not be involved in that industry at all these days.
Was it like a national political forum, or was it local politics?
Oh, I did a little bit of everything. I have a degree in journalism, so I actually went into the radio field for quite some time. Here's another ironic thing, real quick. Sorry, Mike. My mob family appreciated education, which is a whole different thing. We'll get on some other time. He's rolling his eyes at me. He's got, it's just funny. They a lot of them had college degrees, and and not like that really means anything, especially these days. But it's just, you don't really hear of guys saying that they had a plea deal when they're 18 years old in California, and their mob friends were telling them to take it because it included having to go to college as a part of your thing, as part of your plea arrangement. I had dropped out of college my first semester. I was just there selling weed and chasing girls, so there was no use going to school anyways. Wasn't like I wasn't smart enough to. It was an easy piece of cake for me. And so I get arrested later on, and then and so part of my plea deal, they offered to let me go back to school. And this is just before the 3 strikes era kicks in California. So it's going to be the last types of plea deals like that for a long time. And so anyhow, just different things. So there's lots of different nuances. I knew him back in the day, like off and on. And yeah, our thing was just something that didn't quite move forward the way we had anticipated. But go ahead, Mike. Tell them about what's, back in the earlier days with you.
So I've been in the weed game since I was 14. My upbringing was not the best. I had parents were heroin addicts. Actually, my mom was. My dad wasn't around, and so my house had no electricity, no hot water, so I had to fend for myself and take care of my brothers and my sisters. The weed game came easy. It was quick money. I knew enough people where, I was dealing with the Mexican cartel, and then I was dealing with some local guys, and then next thing you know, I was just going from some nickels and dimes, quarters to ounces to pounds and kilos, and just started moving things that way. Ended up moving up to Northern California and started growing my own because I stopped wanting to deal with the middle person and started wanting to be the main person. And from that point, business was good until the Fed stepped in. And around 2004, 2005, they caught on to us they didn't even actually catch on to us. There was some other situations happening. They stumbled upon us, and they used that as leverage to come into our situation and bust us. And I ended up getting some time for that. And when I got out, the process is worse than actually the time. For me, it was anyways.
Why is that?
Because you don't know, they're throwing 15 to life at you. They're trying to scare you. They put me on a 747 with a bunch of inmates. They flew me from all over California, not telling me where I was going, handcuffed and shackled with other inmates. I've never been in trouble with that. I've been in trouble with petty stuff. I did weekend in Reno for having weed on me, but I've never really been in trouble before like that. So they had me what they call diesel therapy, and they sent me to
what does that mean? Diesel therapy.
Hootie, can you collaborate on that, buddy?
So I'm in Rikers Island in Queens. I turn myself in for 2 flat. Now I get locked up, which nobody gets locked up on a state charge for organized crime. That means anywhere I go, they're going to treat me like an asshole, scumbag. Excuse my language, Sparkle. I don't mean to speak like that in front of a lady, but that's what they do to you. So now I go to Rikers Island, something called the 4 building. The 4 building is adolescence, where God and country don't exist. Kids from 16 years and younger go to this building for the worst crimes that you can imagine. Triple homicides, quadruple homicide, lighting families on fires, lighting other people's families on fire. Nuts. So you got to sit there while you're waiting to go upstate with all of these kids that are looking at 6, 7, 8 life sentences. They're all being tried as adults, cutting, stabbings in the You don't even want to go to the shower because there's a stabbing and a cutting every time you go to the shower. And you know you're going to get called. So they keep you there for about 4 weeks, and they put you on a bus. Now, I'm about 5'8", 150 pounds. They shackled me to a guy that's 350 pounds, 6'2". Then they shackle you to your legs, to your hands, and something called the black box that actually an inmate invented, where you can't even scratch your nose. You can't even touch your nose with this thing. You can't even move. And they send you all the way to the furthest part of New York State, which is Brockton, New York, right by Canada. You see Niagara Falls from your jail. Now, that alone is like a 10 to 12-hour ride. Now, you stop at like 6 jails, so it's going to take you about maybe 2 days to get there. 15 hours at a time, 12 hours at a time, 2 days sleeping in Bowman's back on a bus, get off the bus, you're standing outside freezing with nothing on for another bus to come to get you, ship you to another jail. Then once I get up to Canada, they stamp me OC because I can't stay in that jail. I'm organized crime, which in the state, it's called enterprise corruption. Now they ship me 6 hours back to the city, which now maybe it's about Syracuse, which is about 4 to 5 hours away from Queens. And now I stay there for a little while, maybe in a holding cell for a week. Then they'll ship me to Auburn, which is 2 hours further up, which is the flats. It's a max. They make you stay there for, it's always a holiday weekend, so you get stuck there for a week. That's a terrible max prison. It's in Auburn, New York. They actually built the town around the prison. The prison was built first, and then they built the town of Auburn around it, the city of Auburn. So that's diesel therapy. And the feds, they can take you up to 300 miles from your house. So if the feds are going to really get you, they're going to put you on Con Air. They're going to put you on a bus for 200 miles. They're going to bring you back. They're going to, and then where I end up, Jersey, Florida Dicks. When I could have just turned myself into the prison. I lived an hour away from it.
So what's the point of all of
It's
that?
called diesel therapy.
So it's a scare tactic.
That's why it's called diesel therapy.
Do they want you to turn on people, or I mean, are you supposed to like turn on people? Is that the whole purpose of it?
That's it. And guys lose their mind if you're not built that way. If you're some, self-entitled brat that got everything handed to him, your first 6 hours you're gonna break down crying, and then they know what's gonna happen. They're gonna make fun of you. You're gonna become a victim. Somebody's gonna remember you. You end up at a jail. That was the kid that cried. You're gonna become that guy's bitch. You're gonna be giving him your commissary. He'll be calling your family on the phone, extorting them, telling them send money to my family. Or I'm gonna stick something in your son's ass. Things like that. It's serious, and I don't mean to say it like that, but that's what goes on. And people don't understand this, and you lose everything. And the first thing that they do is take your DNA, because that's the one thing that they want. It's the hardest thing to get is a warrant to get somebody's DNA. Once you are convicted, the first thing that they do is send you to medical on being convicted and take your DNA. So your DNA is in the system. So if any crimes committed in the past, you're dead. And any crimes you commit in the future, you're dead. So it really is a mind game, and the government played it perfectly. They're the architect of ruining and destroying the human mind, and that's what they do to you. And if you're not strong enough, they're gonna break you.
Yeah. So they took me from Santa Rita County Jail to Travis Air Force Base. Flew me to Mojave Desert to Edwards Air Force Base. Put me on a white old school bus, just like he said, shackled to another guy, threw me a bag lunch, took me from there to Bakersfield, California, into a sheriff's holding facility there. And I was there for a week, and I had caught a staph infection. So the first place they put me into, I had a hole just drilling into my side of my hip. They finally started giving me medication for that. And then a week goes by, and they throw me on a bus, and they drive me to Fresno, and then I'm in Fresno County. And so they don't tell no one where you're going. No one has no clue where you're at. It's just one of those. It was a mind fuck. But at the same time, I mean, like Hootie said, I've been through a lot of shit. So as new as it was to me, and I'm not saying that I was the badass, because I really wasn't. I was scared, but I didn't say nothing to nobody. I just kept it to myself. And even when people were asking me what I was in there for, I wasn't saying shit to them, because they utilize that against you. They'll take something you said to them. They try to tell the guards. They try to tell somebody so they can try to get their sentence reduced by trying to get information out of you, because they don't give a fuck about you. They don't know you. So that was that situation. And then from there, fighting my case, going to the Fresno federal court system, dealing with Karen and Escobar. She's a prosecutor there in Fresno, and she's something else. You can look her up. She is something else.
I know. So Michael, what's your life like now? Is everybody here has like the normal life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's your description of normal?
Well, everyone's earning money legally for the most part.
Right.
Yeah.
2021.
Yeah. I'm out in Las Vegas, so nothing's really normal out here. That's why I say.
So what's the plan of the show? So you guys got together and said, let's do this podcast. What was like the main thing about the podcast? It was like, let's be authentic. Let's talk about what really goes on in the mob. Let's bring on people that are in it or have been in it. What's the whole purpose?
A mix of all of that.
Let me
Go ahead, Hootie.
let me touch on this. We came together as marijuana guys, right? But my message is to everybody. I want to get street guys. I have guys in gangs that were in gangs, getting in trouble, getting locked up, and they weren't even earning money. They were just running around causing rampage. Then I had guys that were selling drugs, and they didn't know what they were doing, and they were losing money. They were giving credit out. And it used to be an old saying, if you're going to be a drug dealer, you got to be ready to go to jail. You got to be ready to kill. In today's day and age, drug dealers don't kill, and they don't want to go to jail. When you come to the drug trade, that's the first thing they tell you. You want to be a drug dealer, you got to be able to kill, and you got to be able to go to jail. And in today's day and age, they're not. So I try to tell everybody that I know can't make it in life, that I know can't make it in certain jails. Stop. Go get a job. And then I do numbers for them. I tell them, you do 5 years. Now, all the money that you made in the 2-year run that you got, because you're not a connect, you're not getting it direct, you're selling on the corner hand to hand, or you're working off a cell phone, or you're working out of a bar, figure out how much money you made. And it comes out to about 50 cents an hour because of the 5 years that you're going to have to do without making money.
Right.
And I try to explain this to people, from gangs to drug dealers to being in the life, from talking to bosses of crime families that got hitting me up asking me for advice. This is the whole point of our podcast. I don't care what anybody else is doing out there. I am a legitimate guy today, but I'm still a street guy. I act like a street guy when I work. I act like a street guy when I shop. I'll never not be a street guy. That's who I am. That's my persona. There's nothing I can do about that. People talk to me. People know that, yes, I'm intelligent. Yes, I went to college. Yes, I got an education. But that means nothing. Where I came from and who I am is that person. I'll never commit a crime again. I know that because I don't want to. Because I know what the end result is now. And I did everything right. And I was a millionaire. And I owned houses. And I owned cars in my own name. And I knew what it was like. And if I did it like that, and I walked away, I did my state bids. I just came home from doing 5 in the feds. I did other bids. I did 3 bids in 2015, skid bids on Rikers Island. I've been in and out since my early 20s. I know the jail system backwards and forwards, from the feds to the state to wherever you want to go. I had warrants in Boston, warrants upstate. I've done it. I've been there, I lived it. And I want to give it to everybody, from gangs to drug dealers to made guys to crime families to underground to cartel members to clans, to anybody I can speak to, I can give them knowledge on, and I want them to pull out. Unless you're a Mexican cartel member like El Chapo, who's crying right now in ADX, Colorado, because he can't handle it there, making $1 billion a month. I really don't think anybody belongs in the game. That's what I think. They legalized marijuana. I know people that are still serving 20 years for marijuana, just like alcohol with prohibition. Guys were doing 20, 10, 15 years for selling, alcohol illegally, and then they legalized alcohol. So
what's going on with the mob now?
Eventually, a lot of the things these people are involved in.
What's going on with the mob now? Because I know the mob has gone through changes over time. And what's the current situation of the mob? Does it have the same amount of power? Tell us about it.
They sure do. Right now, I know for a fact there's a no-kill order, meaning no green lights. People can't get clipped right now because they're revamping. But they got just as many members. They're just as strong. And they'll be back in the news any day now. 4 families right now are very strong. The Colombo's got a lot of rebuilding to do, but the other 4 families are stellar. You got to remember, all the guys that went away in the 90s for murders and drug abuse are all coming home now. I seen 6 guys last week that came home on murders, and one of them just became the boss of a big family in New York. They're going to be back in action in no time. within the next year or so, you'll be hearing big things about the five families all over again. It's a recycle. It's going to just keep happening. There's nothing else you can do about it. You got to remember, New York City is the Madison Square Garden for crime families, and it's never going to stop. This is where the money is. The drugs, the prostitution, the shakedowns, the construction sites, the concrete, everything. It's all here. This is it.
So with your podcast, how do you talk? Do you call up one of these, like some of these families and be like, hey, come on the show and let's talk about the old days or let's talk about what's going on now? How do you get these guests and what do you guys talk about?
I'm really mostly friends with all of them. Anybody we really have on the show, I know their past. So, I had some kind of affiliation with them or they know of me. And listen, right now I got a long list of people that are calling me that want to go on the show. Me, Mike, and JC can sit around for 4 or 5 hours filming a podcast just talking about what's going on in the streets, and our fans love it. Because they know they're going to get the facts and they're going to get the real stuff. We're not going to give them anything that's bullshit. And it ain't glorifying it. I'm not glorifying anything. I'm trying to.
But are you talking to people that are currently involved, or they're all
ended up nowhere?
They're a mix of the two. We just interviewed Ori Spotto, and we released our first episode with him out of the, it'll be about 3 episodes, it looks like. And with Ori, I'm sure you've seen him on Vlad or some of these other outlets that are out there. And he's been out here in the West Coast for a long time, but he's originally from New York. One of Hootie's guys. Hootie, you'll see in the episode that Hootie met him a long time ago back in the day, but he still remembers him. And Ori got involved with the entertainment business out here down in LA, and he's still in Hollywood and all that.
But nobody's really doing anything now because you can't really be committing crimes and going on air and talking about it, right?
No, they commit crimes.
We ain't talking about it, though.
They commit crimes. They ain't talking about it. They commit crimes.
I'm getting current about. Okay.
Wait, I got a better one. Just a real quick one. I had somebody recently that was one of our guests that we spoke about call me up and ask me to promote his bookmaking operation. And at the end of the story, I turned around because it sounded a little funny. I've been in bookmaking since 14. And I went, is this a legal site? Because New York, it's not legal. He goes, no, I just opened up a sheet. And I hung up on him. He wanted me to promote an illegal bookmaking operation on our podcast.
That is hysterical. Oh my god.
That part of the show is called the gray area.
No, there's no area on my show where we're committing crime whatsoever. We ain't having nobody on the show. That's
sarcasm, buddy.
Yeah,
that's sarcasm. Come on.
Our show every day,
So who's your guys' dream guest at the moment? You can each say if it's a different one. You guys could each say who your dream guest is.
I know mine.
Well, when it comes to Cosa Nostra, I'll be honest with you. The guys don't impress me above anybody else because I was there, and I'm sure Hootie probably would say the same thing. Now, in terms of who would be interesting to talk to, a Sammy, John Alight would be a great one to talk to. That's one of Hootie, as Hootie mentioned earlier. We've talked to Gene Borello, and but as far as I don't know, I'm not sure about the word dream. I would just say it'd be a cool conversation to have more, but. There's some out there. What do you guys think?
Well, I can tell you this. When we come back to filming, I got some big heavyweight coming on. That guys are gonna really see what street guys and killers and stand-up guys and hitters are. Some real hardcore. I'm gonna have A-Light on. We're gonna have Barillo on again. We're gonna get hardcore with the stories. I got about 2 other guests that haven't even been on any shows whatsoever, and they're coming on my show. They want to talk. They're gonna tell their story. I got a captain coming on very soon of a crime family. And yeah, I got some real hardcore stuff for our show when we start filming again. Yeah, I got a long list of real good guys coming on.
What do you think, Michael?
Mo, I don't know enough people like Hootie does, so I can't be in that category. But the people I would love to get to that are out in my area would be like Heidi Fleiss. If I can get her on, that'd be awesome.
Hootie, you don't know her?
We've actually crossed paths every year at the porn convention in Vegas many times, and actually sat at the same table a few times. But yeah, that could happen. I know that's Mike's thing, and I'm actually going in the direction of having an Italian American woman on the show to speak of her point of view of growing up in the old neighborhood and how it was, because I want the women's perspective of it. I want her to tell a story. So I'm like want to bring them on. And I'd like
Heidi just got busted growing marijuana. She had a marijuana thing going on in her place out in Prump.
Yes,
along with her birds. So she's just an interesting person altogether, especially in the industry she was in.
Well, thank you guys so much. I mean, this is exciting. So we're gonna have to do this every month. Well, you guys are gonna come back and tell me who you have on, what's going on.
Yeah, we'll see. What do you guys think?
I'm game for it.
When's the next episode that we can watch? That's coming out.
We'll probably be releasing one in the next day or two. We should be done with the next
So
one.
it's not at a certain time. We just have to all subscribe and look for it.
Well, we actually have a Q&A session coming up, just so that all your fans know. If you guys want to ask us some very specific questions, go on to the Hootie and JC YouTube page and just go on to any of the videos that we have so far. We've got the big one with Gene Borello. Then we've got, our last one where we introduce ourselves. That one's in segments. And then we got the first part of Ori up. And just ask whatever question you guys want to ask on the page itself. And we are going to end up addressing those. So this Friday, we will do a Q&A.
Exciting. Okay.
All right. So,
nice.
So that's right. For those of you out there, go to our YouTube page, not our IGs. If you try to sneak around it and send us those questions through IG, you're going to see that we've seen it, and then you're going to see no reply to it. So, or we'll say go to our YouTube page and leave that question there.
I'm subscribed. I'll send them to the YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
thank you.
Well, we look forward to it. We'll see you next time around.
Hey, David, how are you?
Hi, Sparkle. I'm amazing. Thank you.
I love that you're everything Sparkle financial guy. We've been needing you for a while. We've been needing you for a while, actually.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question. Let's start over.
Needing you our whole life to help us with finances. Like that, you're like a financial savior, really, huh?
That's amazing. Thank you. That might be overkill, but I appreciate the accolade.
So explain what Roth conversion means. This is like a phrase I've heard, and it's just like science to me. What is it?
Right. It's actually one of the leading search engines right now on Google. Like that's one of their top searches. I was looking up the other day because I was getting so many questions on it. I was like, okay, this has got to be coming from somewhere. Roth conversions are not new. However, they are able to help you start getting to a 0% tax break when you retire. So many times, like there'll be traditional IRAs that still have not been taxed yet, and they actually want to start doing a taxable event today so they can start growing that money tax-free in the future. So they're simply taking accounts that they already have existing and then moving them into a structure that's now no longer going to have taxes. So it's pretty complex on some of them, but simplistically put, you're taking money that is still qualified to pay taxes on, you're having a taxable event on and now putting it in a vehicle that will grow tax-free. So it's pretty powerful once you end up doing it at the right time.
How do we do it?
Great question. Go to my website. Okay, it's befinanciallyinformed.com. We can point you in the right direction. Even if it's not something that our company can help you directly with, we will be able to align you with those that can help you do them. But just give us a call depending on which company that your account is already with. These transactions are usually cost nothing to do. So, and it's crazy, right? Like, okay, what do you get out of it? And kind of what we were talking about on our previous episode, we get paid from companies just to educate them. If we're able to help them out, they pay us out of a marketing budget to do that. So moving your assets, they're all yours. You shouldn't pay those to an advisor. Just have them show you where you can put it in, and we can walk you through the process.
So your company, how many companies do you even work with personally to help people with their money?
There's over 120 companies across the U.S. That actually we are appointed and bonded with. And it's not just me inside the company. I'm not the only one that's doing it. But there's several that we work with on a daily basis. Because imagine, like, someone might come to us with a need that's 20 or 30. They're just beginning, right? Just wanting some basic information. So there's an allotment of companies that will be suitable for those. Let's say that someone's in their 30s or 40s. Maybe they're thinking more aggressively about retirement, knowing that it's coming a little bit closer. Or in their 50s, 60s, and they're thinking about protecting the assets that they've already gained over life, or trying to make up some ground. Each company is going to handle that a little differently. So really understanding where someone wants to be is key. We do a personal financial review with people that we sit with. So we have a broad picture of what their goal has been so far, but looking forward into the future of where they want to be. And that's where we'll actually align them with companies to help them get to that goal.
I think we're always afraid if we invest money that we're somehow going to lose it and there's not going to be a return. What do you think is the best case scenario for someone that has $1,000? They want to invest in something, and do you have to wait 20 years to get a return, or can we get put it in and you're going to get married in 3 years or have a kids in 3 years and take it out, and you want to put $1,000 in something today, and in 3 years you'd like to take it out and see it have grown to a little bit? What are some options for that?
Good questions. Roth IRAs are really good for that. Also, like investing lump sums of $1,000, and you can actually invest them inside indexed accounts, which will have no loss. But
indexed accounts have no loss.
Yes. Yeah. Like you can have some that have larger loss or more opportunity for that, but also more opportunity for gains. So the biggest thing that someone should think about before even talking to someone about finances is, where is your risk tolerance? Like some, especially those who are younger, if something happens to the market and they have a reset, they're going to have time to make those assets back. Someone who is older and maybe doesn't have unlimited amounts of resources, their risk tolerance is a little bit lower. So using an indexed account would be perfect for them. For saving for a wedding, probably having a mix. Like being inside an account that will be able to exercise all of the gains of the market, but not very much of the risk, might be a way to go.
So the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward sometimes, though, right?
Sometimes. Yeah. Investing, a mentor told me once, investing is almost like you're putting money into something and you've got to be okay with not getting it back. If someone needs those assets to live, I would never advise investing it. Like if you need something this month to live on, don't stick it into an account, right? Like that's something you need in your savings accounts just live off of. If that money would be detrimental for them, like within a year, never put it into a product that would lock it away for them. They want to have it liquid. But those accounts that are strictly devised for retirement assets, those are long-term accounts that people will put money into, knowing that that's going to be what they retire on.
Interesting. Thank you so much, David.
Yeah, absolutely, Sparkle. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Welcome to Everything Sparkle. Justin, I am so excited that you're here telling us what you're doing, because you're a great person with a big heart doing something really nice. Tell us about it.
All right. Yeah. Basically, a friend of a friend named Tara is going through a surgery, and for a kidney transplant, and so I reached out to her and said, hey, can we help raise funds for you? And she said sure. And so I reached out to all the bands I know. I'm a musician myself, and we decided to have like a festival of musicians and poets. And basically on Sunday, February 21st at 5:30 p.m. We are going to have a festival of different music and poets performing. And Sparkle, if you can make it, you're more than welcome to do a poem.
I am doing the poems. I got it all worked out.
So yeah, people can see the festival on Facebook Live if they want to go to my page. It's Sunshine Rain. I put on different events. I have some other ones coming up. One of them is the Friends of Allensworth fundraiser. I'm also doing on February 27th, and that's at 6 p.m. And all of my stuff, yeah, you can see it on the Sunshine Rain page. But yeah, this should be a really cool event.
This is really nice. So Tara's not even your friend; it's a friend of a friend. That's
exactly. Yeah.
I love that even more.
I know she's a musician and a local musician here in Visalia, where I'm from, and I've seen her at shows, and I hear really good things, about her.
So you're helping the community. I love that. That's a great story.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, her being an artist, I always, and her being a musician, me being a musician, I just try to. I heard that she was, needing some help, some funds, so I just reached out, and yeah, I'm just trying to help out different musicians and artists when I can.
So what happened? I know she's going to tell us a little bit about herself, but what happened? What can you tell us about her condition and situation?
So yeah, she's been trying to get a surgery, I believe. It was supposed to be in January, but it's going to be in a couple weeks from now, in later February. But she's been struggling, with being on like dialysis. She spells it all out in the GoFundMe page that you can see also on the Sunshine Rain Facebook page, that and you can go donate there, or her Venmo, which is all the information's on there too, or her PayPal. But yeah, she's been kind of struggling and not feeling too well. That's why she's not on right now. And but she is going to send in a video when she's feeling a little bit better, and you'll be able to hear it from the source of what's actually all going on. But yeah, we're just trying to lift her spirits and raise some funds. And we've already got a pretty good response as far as people donating already. But we're hoping that with some bands, we're trying to get some bands that you've had on, the Dying Sons.
Right. She's not terminal though, right?
No, she has someone to a match, I believe. I don't know how the term is medically, but she's going to have the surgery and everything should be fine. So yeah,
the match is already in place. She just needs a little bit of help for that, for the fun. That's great. So these are all very positive things. It's not terminal. She does have a match. Those are two very, very positive. That's so awesome. That's so awesome that you're doing this and helping out the fellow musicians in your community.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I've been putting on some open mics and that are just like open to whoever. I've been doing that since like November. And so I've been meeting a lot of musicians all over the country and, the globe actually. So we have people coming from like Australia coming and and in different, New York and whatnot, they're going to be performing. So I've met a lot of people since November, and they're all. I just pretty much like what I did to you. Like, are you interested in being a part of this? And they're like, yeah. And so we got like 50 plus acts, and we're gonna have a full day full of probably music. We might start a little bit before 5:30. We'll probably get the set times squared away, before this Sunday. And so I'll reach out to you to let you know what time you will definitely have a slot.
And what you said, everyone just goes into Zoom, so all the people watching can go into Zoom, or we could post it on our Facebook and they can watch it that way.
Yeah, if you want to, performers are going to have to go into Zoom, and if you want to be more, if you want to go into the Zoom, audience members are able to do that as well to kind of interact with the performers if they like want to ask questions or just clap.
Oh, so they can. So just everybody watching right now, they should also log into Zoom.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be a part of the show in it with all the performers, you can log on to the Zoom, and the flyer has the Zoom information, and we're gonna have the link up.
Are we streaming it live as well through Facebook?
Yeah, we'll go into Zoom, and then we'll stream to Facebook, Instagram, Periscope, and Twitter.
Because I know a lot of people might not want to be interactive, but they probably just want to donate a little bit of money, so they just want to see what's going on, and then I'll share the link on mine as well, so that they could just donate straight to that. That's what I was kind of asking, because
yeah, we'll have everything on the Facebook page that everyone can share, and so we're hoping to people share it and get it out there as much as possible. But yeah, I really appreciate you. Just I'm really stoked to be on this podcast, and I'm really glad that you were just so responsive, really quickly of getting back to me, because a lot of people I didn't hear back because they don't. I'm just a random person. They don't know me. It's like
I think that's the hard thing. You know what I do? I've sometimes missed some very important things that I would have loved to have been a part of, but I've gotten so swarmed by. That's why it seems like I'm mean, but on my profile I put I don't have time for small talk because I don't want to miss things like this for somebody's asking me how my day is or what I ate for breakfast. People I don't know very well asking me that on a social media platform.
Yeah, I understand.
I like you. I want to help the mission. So sometimes people get overloaded with that and then they miss somebody like you that has something really great you're doing. So thank you for doing that. And whatever things you're doing in the future, keep us posted and we'll have you back when everything's sparkle and you can tell us about that. And I want to have you back sometime to play too.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. And, you know, I do have a podcast as well, and you're more than welcome to come on sometime.
What's your podcast?
My podcast is called the Gusalicious So-Called Podcast. Just it's kind of a silly name, but yeah, I mean, we're not as professional as this, obviously, but it's kind of, you know, growing. I've only had it since like November as well, but yeah, I'll reach out to you about that.
Was it anything Gusalicious?
Yeah, because Gus was like my nickname as a kid, and so we figured, you know, just go with that.
I love it. No, but I'm gonna start watching Gusalicious, and it's on YouTube. I'm subscribed to it. Am I subscribed?
Yeah. It's on YouTube. Yeah, Facebook as well, YouTube, and we go up we stream it everywhere too. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. We get, you know, musicians, even some like politician kind of people running for office, and you know, it's a very diverse group. But yeah,
I love that. And that's what it's called on YouTube. I could just look up Gusalicious.
The Gusalicious So-Called Podcast, or you know, but that's you can find it under the Sunshine Rain YouTube or Facebook, and it's all on there.
Oh, I'm gonna be a new fan. I love music and politics, so you sign me up.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Thank you so much for coming on, and we will have you back. I'm sorry this is a short one, but that we wanted to squeeze you in before the event. But next time we'll have you back and give you a lot longer slot. I
really appreciate you, Sparkle. You're an amazing person. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, welcome to Everything Sparkle. With us, I have Vernea. Vernea, you are doing a lot of things. Tell us about them.
Okay, so the very first thing is I am Vernea. I am the owner of IamVL, which is short for I am Vernea Latrice. That is my first and middle name. But I am a owner of a media and marketing company where I work closely with businesses, work on their marketing strategies, and manage some of those accounts. So sometimes you may, I may be able to help people who are their businesses speeding up. So I would just be a helping hand, because when you get to the point where you have to decide on, okay, Tuesdays and Thursdays I'll post, that means you are too busy, and I am here to help. So I am doing that. I am teaching in my local district, my school district, and I'm studying to be a real estate agent. So I got a little bit going on.
That's awesome. So if people want your services, you can do this anywhere in the country, correct?
Yes.
So I can call you and say, hey, I have this business. I need you to help me with my online stuff. And we're on different coasts, but I can call you up and you can help me out and send me a quote. Be like, yeah, you could give me like, you have a price for, let's say I want you 5 hours a week or something. You have a price for that. You could tell me this is the budget for this amount of work.
So because I can do this anywhere, I honestly have been letting people tell me what they want. So if you like, I'm doing a real estate company right now, marketing. So for them, they chose their price and they get what they pay for, basically. So I paid weekly from them, and they pay me okay. But honestly, I let you choose. You want to invest in your business. You want to use me as a helping hand. You let me know what you can afford and you'll get that. And if you feel like you need more, you pay more.
That makes sense. And that's kind of good, because sometimes people just want a little bit of help.
Right.
And then no one wants, they're like, oh no, you have to be on a retainer and it's $800 a month for this. And we can't, a lot of businesses are struggling. So that's really cool that they can come to you for
for sure. I'm a mother of two. I'm a career woman. I mean, I get it. So honestly, for most people, I'm just like, first of all, my number one thing is that I love to help. So no, I don't have a price list. I don't want to come off as this big media company, because honestly, it's me from my phone. Sometimes I edit from my MacBook, sometimes I don't. So honestly, it just depends on what you want to invest in your business, and sometimes some people may not have it, but they need the help. So that's what that is there for. And then like once they get bigger and they say, okay, well, I need more marketing. Well, I need more money. How can I help? So
what are some things you've done in the past, like for one of your clients? What was something they were really thrilled about and that you were thrilled about? Was it getting their numbers up on social media or getting the word out about something? What was something that you did?
The number one thing that I keep hearing from my clients is the creativity. Yes, I did grow the real estate, and I'll use them because they are my biggest clients right now. So yeah, I got their following up, but the point is to get them out there. The point is to constantly see their name. So when you're thinking about first of all, you're not always thinking about purchasing a house. Like that's just not it. But for those times, you're constantly seeing the name. So when you do think about it, you say, well, I've been seeing this name a lot. And that's how I got into real estate. Like I started seeing things around. And that's how I started to decide on what broker I wanted to go with. So I see their signs everywhere. So that's the point. But mainly my creativity and how I can give the same information as 1,000, 100,000 more agents, but catching the eye. So I think the main thing is just my creativity and how I'm able to get it out there and how fast I am. I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's kind of easy. So people will say, hey, can you post this? And it's out pretty fast. Like I think today was the fastest. She sent me something and I tweaked it. I put a little spin on it and then I posted it, and that was probably about 10 minutes. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So you just get the job done quick.
Yeah, because I can do it from anywhere. So for me, like I could be playing with my kids, hold on guys, and switch it up and get it all together and get it nice and able to catch a client or a potential client or a potential buyer or seller or whatever the case may be and catch their eye. So I believe that getting the name out there as much as possible is perfect.
So what about when you get like fully into real estate? How are you gonna have time to do all this?
Honestly, I plan on hiring people. So right now I have a handful of clients. So I decided that once I complete my real estate, my exam, I've already done the course already. So I'm just waiting to take the exam. But once that's done, I plan on hiring 2 more people because I did start this company out of the love of real estate. But then I started getting more people. So I was like, oh, okay, I got to figure it out. So I definitely plan on hiring. Maybe
it's a good problem to have, right? To be that big.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely a good problem to have. So, hey.
Well, that good for you. That's really ambitious. How long have you been doing this?
Honestly, since the pandemic. But I just started getting paid for it. Like people like were really on it, probably like December, the end of November to December. And that's when I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get paid for this because I actually promoted over 10 businesses during the pandemic. Everybody was like, oh, I need to make money. Like jobs are dropping left and right. They don't need us. So people decided like, I'm going to be a business owner. So I promoted over 10, probably about 15 to 20, companies and businesses that are just coming up and they don't know how to do any of this. All they're thinking is I have to make money. And most of them were parents. Most of them were millennials. So I checked both. So I was like, I need to help as much as possible. And then I realized like, okay, things are starting to slow down. People are starting to, slow down pandemic wise, but, and I don't want to jinx that. So let's knock on something, but, yeah, so people started to get better with their business and I was able to help as many people as I could. And then I just decided like, hey, why not make money from this, but not also intimidate those new business owners who just got a little bit of money. And now they're like, okay, now you want me to charge you X amount of dollars? Like you want to charge me X amount of dollars?
Right.
You were doing for free. So that's how I started working with people.
Well, that's really no, because everybody I've come on that does marketing or whatever, they always have some huge strategy and some huge like pay this and this and this. And a lot of people have a team and they just want somebody extra. A lot of times people just already doing everything, but they want someone to do more. So that's why I feel like you're perfect, because you could be that more with that, that extra hand that they have helping.
Yeah. And I don't put a timeline on anything. Whenever you need me, that's when you need me. If you don't need me anymore, bridges are not burned. I am not upset. You know what I'm saying? I would hope to not have to be on for a very, very long time, because at that point, I'm not teaching you anything. There's no value besides me doing
right.
It.
Then they just want someone doing everything.
Exactly. Like, that's fine. As long as you pay me for it, I don't care. But the point is to teach. And the point is to not feel like I hired somebody. Like, no, I work with somebody. I'm in close contact. I am running things by them, and they call the shots. You know what I'm saying? Because I know my value, but I also know that this is something that will help other people while helping me as well.
Well said. And where can we contact you for everything?
So you can contact me on my social media. On my Instagram is where I'm mainly at, but it's IamV Latrice, so LAUTRISE, and that's just my Instagram. You can do the same thing with my email. That's just IamVL@gmail.com.
That's perfect. That's easy
as well. Yeah, very simple. So I'm just that's mainly where I am. DMs work.
And you're on Facebook and Twitter, correct?
Yes, so I do have Facebook, and that is just Vernea Latrice. So yeah, but my name, you can spell it like VERNAHIALAUTRISE. So yeah.
Well, we're gonna follow you for everything, and then we need help.
Please
You're our
do.
go-to. I love when I saw your layout and everything. I'm like, this girl really has it together. And where do you live?
I can't. Like, I do for everybody else, but I don't put in the time for myself. Like with my social media, like I got everybody else stacked out, but mine, I'm just like, you know what? I'm too busy helping. I'll worry about it when I don't have any clients.
Trust me, I totally understand.
Yeah.
That's great. No, and where do you live again? I know you're on the East Coast.
Yeah, I'm in upstate New York.
And you've helped businesses all over. That was the crazy part when I saw like you were helping people all over. It's like,
yeah. I don't honestly. I try to follow people who either inspire me or who one day I would like to work with or something like that. And then if they follow me back, then of course they see what I do, and then that's how that happens. But I use my social media with purpose. So honestly, that's just how that went. I wasn't just following everybody just to follow, or just like, oh well, her person.
Right.
So you use it with purpose and it changes your life.
I love that. Well, we're gonna definitely come after you. I love women that are doing this, and that, like you said, you're helping the older people, you're helping the millennials, and that's, you know what you got. You're marketing yourself well, girl. Okay. Thank you so much for coming on my show today. We will be hitting you up.
Okay. Anytime I'm here, I am willing to help always. Don't be afraid to say, hey, like I just need this or I just need that. I am here to help. I love it. So
thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh, I must confess, dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.